and welcome to another Phase 5 phonics lesson. Now we're in the second part of Phase 5, aren't we? And at the moment we're thinking about the endings of words. We've already had a think about adding S and ES to the end of words, and today we're going to be thinking about adding ED to the end of verbs to make them into past tense verbs. Let's get started.
Right, we're going to start off a little bit differently today. Let's think back to what we did last video. We were looking at adding ES and S to the end of words to make them into plurals. And we said that when a word ends in a sh, z, x, ch, or s sound, we add ES instead of S. So for your warm-up today, I have got 5 words that I would like you to make into plurals. So give yourself 2 or 3 minutes, click pause here and see if you can turn these words into plurals. Right, time to check your answers then. What did you notice about all of these words? Let's have a look. They were all words that needed ES adding to the end, not just S. We've got the ch, sh, z, x, and s sound at the end of these words, so we need to add ES. So pitch becomes pitches, wish becomes wishes, buzz becomes buzzes, mix becomes mixes, class becomes classes. Okay, let's have a think about today's new learning. So we're carrying on focusing on the endings of words today, and today we're thinking about adding ED to the end of words. So this is something we add to the end of verbs, so that's doing words, to make them into the past tense. So have a look down here, I've got this word. The beginning of the word is shout. This is a verb, it's a doing word. So I might have something like, I am going to shout as loud as I can. But if I want to make this into the past tense, to say I've already done it, we need to make it into I shouted. And the end of the word shouted, we need an ED. So shout is the meaning bit of the word, and then the ED on the end tells me that this is a past tense word. Now lots and lots of verbs just need the ED adding on the end and they will become past tense verbs. But there are some rules we need to know where we don't always just add an ED. The first rule we're going to look at is what happens if the word already ends in an E. And this is a nice straightforward rule because all we need to do when a word ends in an E, instead of add ED, we just need to add the D on the end and it already makes an ED for us. So the verb use becomes used, move becomes moved, and live becomes lived. And you can see that we've kept the E on the end and we've just added a D. That's shown here in blue. So that's one thing you might come across. There's another couple of rules that we need to think about. We do something a little bit different if the word ends in a Y. Now this is just when a word ends in a Y by itself that's making an I or an E sound. So have a look here, we've got the word cry. Now instead of just adding an ED, we have to change that Y into an I. So cry becomes cried, but you can see we've changed and we've added an I there. Here we've got the word copy, and that Y on the end is making the E sound. For copy to become copied, we need to change the Y and turn it into an I. And this is the word marry. For marry to become married, we need to, again, to change the Y into an I before we add ED. So that's mostly what we do when there's a Y on the end. But there's another little rule that we need to remember. This is the last one, I promise. When a word ends in a Y, but it's not just a Y by itself, it's a Y with another letter, so that's a digraph, that's making a sound. So in the word enjoy, the O and the Y are making the OI sound. In the word play and pray, the A and the Y are making an A sound. So we've got an OI sound and an A sound. You can see that the Y is working together with another letter. In these words, instead of changing the Y to an I, we just keep it the same. So the Y and its friend, its letter that it's with, stay the same, and we just add ed. So let's just remind ourselves of those rules. When words end in an E, well, that's easy. We don't need to add ed, we just add the D on the end. When a word ends in a Y by itself, then we change that Y to an I, and then we can add ed. And when a word ends in a Y, but it's working together with another letter, another vowel to make an A or an OI sound, we keep it the same. We don't change it into an I, we just add ed on the end. Okay, well done for listening and thinking about all of those rules. Now I've got 10 words for you, and I want you to turn these words, they're all verbs, they're all doing words, into past tense verbs. So you're going to need to add on ed. But remember those rules that we've just learned. Sometimes you need to do something a little bit different than just adding ed. So click pause here, have a go at turning all of those words into past tense words, and then click play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, ready to check your answers? Here we go. Now, as we go through them, if there's one that you didn't get quite right, that's absolutely fine. But if that happens, click pause on the video, and then next to your wrong answer, practice writing the correct spelling. And you might even want to practice this a few times, because the more you practice the correct spelling, the easier it is for your brain to learn the spelling. So let's have a look at the first one. This is turn, and it becomes turned. Nice and simple, we just add ed on the end. Turned. What about this one? Use. Use becomes used. But notice we didn't have to add an ed on the end because we already had the e there for us, so we just added the d on the end. The e was already there. What about this one then? Play becomes played. Now notice we have got a y on the end, but it's working together with an a to make the a sound. So we can just add ed straight on the end. We can leave that y as it is. So play becomes played. Next one, we've got live, and that becomes lived. And again, we already had the e there, so all you needed to change was to add the d on the end. Spray. Spray becomes sprayed. Again, look, we've got an A-Y working together there to make the A sound, so we can just add ed on the end straight away. This is the word identify. This is a bit of a tricky one. You might not have recognised this word, but it's the word identify. And to make it into identified, well, we've got a Y by itself at the end here, so we need to change it first to an I, and then we can add ed for it to become identified. Look, there it is. There's that I there, and there's the ed. Next one, wish becomes wished, and you can see that that's just a simple one. We add ed on the end. Here we've got supply. Well, this ends in that I sound made by a Y by itself, so we need to change the Y into an I, there it is, and then add ed to make the word supplied. And then we've got remain. This is another simple one. We just need to add ed on the end to make remained. And lastly, we've got the word pass, and again, this is nice and straightforward. We just need to add ed on the end. So hopefully you were able to spot the words that you could just add ed straight away, the words where you just needed to add d on the end, and the words where you needed to think about the y. If it was by itself, changing it to an I. If it was working with another letter, then you can just add ed as normal. If you got a few of those wrong today and you feel like you need another practice, have another go. Take the video back a little bit and have a go at writing out those words again to see if you can get them right. But well done on all your hard work today. We'll leave things there for now.
Excellent work. Well done on finishing another phonics lesson. Have a great weekend, and I will see you again next week for another phonics lesson. See you then.